Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sending the stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to take a completely different approach.
Tell
And
me.
the world said no. What was
Tell
the
me.
other approach? The other approach was really going to be focused on what it looks like to center. Yeah. But apparently, that's not what we're supposed to be focusing on right now. Apparently, there's a lot of the next 2 weeks in July are supposed to be a little bit more turbulent, believe it or not, a little bit fiery, and there's more movement that we need to do physically with our bodies to help push through what's to come.
So the mirrors and turmoil.
Pushing energy through our bodies.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how do we do that?
Dancing, movement, shaking, running, just anything. There's something that used to happen apparently when we were more primitive, before we were more conditioned to basically fall into this life that we find ourselves in today. And when we would get panicked or carry too much emotion or turmoil or have a frightening event, we would allow ourselves to shake. Some people still do that. They will shake after a catalyzing moment or scary situation that arises. And it's something that we've been conditioned to not do anymore. And there's some type of purpose. There's something that shaking actually helps our body move that energy through and process the emotion rather than it becoming stagnant energy within the body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was going to go there. But then as I started listening more, I had one of my, I don't even know what guide this is. I don't have a name or anything yet, but one of my guides who's more masculine in their energy said, we're not trying to scare people. We're, it's not depending on who's watching, they'll take that one way. Oh, more things to come. That sounds scary. And that's not the goal here. The goal of your platform is really to embrace more joy and energy and love and learning how to live in a more free state. Not.
Well, I think your guide is right on. I truly do believe that there are things astrologically that we're told are destined. Mm-hmm. And like a friend of mine was told when she was very young that she was destined to be frustrated. And so she's frustrated all the time. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that could have been in her stars, but we have choice.
We have choice and control.
We have choice as to whether we will let that go. I see almost everything as a guide for us, our guides, right?
Yeah. Everything, every moment, everything.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And we can say it's our choices, right? It's our choices of whether we're going to change or not. And
that's basically what my guide was coming through with in terms of, yes, you can focus on centering, but what does that look like for each individual? And will they choose to do so? And I think that's when I said, okay, fine, you bring it. I'm not doing this. I did it by myself. I got it wrong. You tell me.
Not wrong, just wrong timing. Not wrong. Yeah.
But the second I asked, it came in fast.
Interesting. Yeah. It's interesting too. And fortunately, I have not been very good about it. I think, and I ask, but I have not gone to my cards or pendulum to get the answers clear, because that takes a little bit more quiet time. Yeah. And I have not given myself permission to do the quiet time today. Mm-hmm. So I set the intention on just having a good time.
Good.
That's it. What is whiz, what isn't, and just have a good time.
Agreed. I love that. Play. That's what I keep calling it, is play more.
Oh yeah, yeah. Get that inner child going and give her some time to. Well, it sounds like that all our conversation now is talking about all of. So hey there, thanks for joining us today, and I'm Karen Stoltz, and I am sitting here with my very good friend Janet Uribe. Did I pronounce that right? Janet's from Austin, Texas, and she's a mystic, intuitive catalyst, and life guide. She's currently on her own journey for living the most free and joyous life. And I can tell you from experience that she is an amazing lady, absolutely amazing lady. So today, she's going to be sharing with us a little bit about finding your truth and joy through the mirrors of the moment of turmoil. So golly, that sounds interesting, Janet. Tell us a little bit more about your story and what's this all about?
So honestly, I guess if we're talking about my story, I've always been intuitive. I've always been very connected and had a lot of awareness. But only in the last couple years have I really been doing more of the work to reconnect with self, is what we'll call it. And so as I continue to reconnect with self, I keep having so many aha moments that are just beautiful, and I heal quickly, and I find myself completely more empowered, more so than I would have been a couple years ago, say. And so even when things happen that most would say, oh my gosh, that just happened to her, I have this tendency to really neutralize the event much more easily once I understand the lesson behind that curriculum. And I immediately grow, immediately feel the next step, the next level, the next book, the next curriculum. And I'm willing and happily embracing it, just knowing that it's part of my growth, knowing that it's part of the evolution and the enlightenment process, and connecting to source more openly and directly.
The the connection for having an awesome life.
Yeah.
That's what we're here all about, having an awesome life. So, in as I read this, was looking at our mirrors in the moment of turmoil. Tell me more about the mirrors.
Sure. And I mean, I'd love to talk about this on a personal level in terms of having mirrors in my own personal life, and also the mirrors that we all see every day. So basically, the mirror is the person, the being before you, the event that happens before you, the scenario you find yourself in, whether it be with your spouse, your children, your neighbor, the clerk at the store. Everyone and all of us are always serving as actors in each other's play to mirror something that may need to be addressed, especially if we have an emotional trigger, or if we have a reaction that doesn't seem like something that's comfortable for us and we feel a little anxious about it. Or perhaps we're not even just an anxiety, perhaps we're angry about it. No one should treat me this way, or no one should treat a person that way. The mirror is there as a servant to us to show us something about ourselves. And it's the universe telling us, come here, come see, take a closer look. There's something I want to show you.
That is so cool. And now, does that also work in the positive?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the universe and the physicality of where we are, and even in the physical and the non-physical, is always showing us what we are creating. It is always showing us, whether we're doing something that's positive or negative, what we're bringing into our environment, into our reality. How we choose to perceive it is how we overcome the obstacle and get our lessons learned there. But, I think there's always been there's karmic residue, and then there's karma. And yes, there is, but truthfully, that karma perspective that we've all grown up with, well, that's karma. That was just him getting what was coming around to him, back again. Really, it's not so much that type of negative consequence. It literally is us just approaching a curriculum. And the mirror is what gives us and grants us that gift to continue to grow.
So is it a mirror, or is it a contract that we are
it can be both. So technically, every night we go to bed, we're traveling, we're astral projecting, we're meeting in other realms, and we're making and negotiating with each other and
Oh my
agreeing.
goodness.
So much more complex than just a standard contract. Yes, we do contract to come into this world, say with our parents, our nuclear family and our spiritual family. And we do contract to come into this specific body, and so many things where that hard contract exists. But then there's also these contracts that we continually write with each other because we have free choice.
Oh, I love the choice. I mean, isn't it what creates that awesome life is having that choice?
Absolutely. So if you consider the fact that every night before you go to bed, you should be getting excited. You should just be making a list really of, okay, this is what my life is. This is what I would like to be. Making literally like a grocery list of the things that you desire and want to create as part of your reality. You're going to sleep and you're working on it.
Even that's even more than the gratitude list that everyone says you should write.
Absolutely. And gratitude is a piece of it. Everything's a piece of it. The emotional being is a piece of it. The spiritual awareness is a piece of it. The physicality is a piece of it. All of it is one. It's all interconnected, like a webbing.
Wow. Now that's true. And Janet, I'm wondering, during this time of COVID and the things that we see on TV, how do we handle these situations we find ourselves in today? How do we handle it all?
Sure. I think that in our human, in our egoic condition, right, which the ego serves its purpose as well, and oftentimes it's to show us, choose again, remember, connect, center. But in this mass chaos that we're experiencing more at that global scale, really, we're talking about that also being our servant and our mirror for all of us to show us, well, hey, this is truly where our human consciousness is right now. This is truly where our level of awareness is. And it can be ugly, it can be uncomfortable, it can come with so much emotional pain and turmoil. However, it's also the catalyst to force us to want to change, to make the choice to choose again, to rewrite those contracts, to rewrite our status quo, our current paradigms and belief systems that we have in place right now. And let's be honest, when you get comfortable and you're comfortable enough and you're ready to just chill out in your pajamas and have a great day on the couch, there's nothing to move you from that couch. There's nothing to actually catalyze the being and push them off. If you have your favorite movie, a little snack and something else going. Truly, we have to reach areas and levels of discomfort, of things that can really strike the emotional being, strike us to our core, to really make us want to make a change. And that applies to COVID, that applies to these racial tensions we're experiencing here in America right now. There's so much that has to come into our awareness. And in terms of even COVID, I mean, if we're going further into that, I'm getting right now that, we also become so one-dimensional. We have this tendency to only focus in the present, the now, or even the future if we're getting anxious, the past if we're a little depressed. But focusing in this here and now, we don't even consider how addressing the emotional being within what we're going through during COVID, how that affects past, present, future lives as well. I mean, as a collective, we've experienced other plagues before. And as many of us know, we come back to basically resolve things that we have not addressed in previous lives as well. All lives concurrent. As we're addressing this plague right now, we're also addressing a plague in another lifetime.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, correct me if I'm not, what you're saying is that we've made some sort of contract to come back into these bodies, and we have experienced things in past lives of plagues and disasters and terrorizing and everything. But now we can choose to do something different. And we can't really change somebody else, but we can change the way we respond, react.
Yes.
Get rid of react. I don't like react. Sorry, Janet. No, forget the react. We don't make every effort to respond because that takes thought.
I mean, and let's be honest, we came into the human condition. So there are moments where we will react. But, shake hands and make friends with your ego, because your ego is also the one that makes you aware of the fact that you just reacted and basically sways you to make a different choice to respond.
Yeah.
So the duality is there as well. We could sit here and beat up the reactive piece of ourselves, but it also serves us purpose, just like the responsive side.
Oh, I like that. Everything serves a purpose, and we just need to kind of look at it and recognize what purpose it is serving. And as I've always told my clients, and I practice myself, you want something, your ego steps in and says, I'm going to sabotage what is going on because you're just not ready for this. This is not you. This is nothing that you have ever had before.
Exactly.
However, if you are able to say, I know, I feel, I know, I have an inner knowing that this is the right time to make the change. As you were pointing out a little bit ago, you were writing something out and we were going to be talking about something entirely different tonight. And then you said, no, we don't need that right now. We need this now. And so what I always like to do is say, thank you to my ego. Thank you for being here. Thank you for protecting me from myself and the dangers. However, if I'm going to go anywhere, I need to break through these dangers and find a way to do that. So either help me or step aside.
I like it. Get out the way.
Out of the way. I appreciate everything that you've done for me. Now you can stay with me and support me and move me forward, or you can step out of the way.
I love it. I think it's funny, when you think about the people in your lives that you have those closest bonds with, that you would have no problem just casually. I think spiritually, in spiritual talk, we don't really get real with that authentic part of ourselves, where you might tell your husband or your kid, like, what are you doing? Get out of here, stop it with that, and you really just shove them to the side, or whatever it is, remove the interjected thought or whatever they were trying to project on you. And we don't do that with our ego. I think we tend to hide from the ego, and we get nervous that, oh no, I was in my ego, and we're not supposed to do that. But I'm really learning that the ego can be your best friend. And you're right. If the ego needs to sabotage something for you, then come on ahead and do it, because it'll be a more thorough learning experience than I happened to maybe fall into this intuitive choice and now I'm feeling my way. Well, there was still more work to be learned, and there was still more curriculum to be done.
Yeah, the ego, I've come to really appreciate and recognize. We are taught in the media and everything, oh, they are so egotistical.
Yeah.
They're just full of themselves. We don't like that. That's bad. And so to say that we are actually egotistic in some ways,
Absolutely.
it's not all that bad. Ego is what makes people move forward sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps them there. Ego is only there to keep us safe.
Yeah.
As is the subconscious.
Exactly.
Oh, I love this. So how do you respond to people who are overly triggered, that are, really emotionally stricken? How do you respond to them? They need assistance during uncertain times and we are living in a lot of uncertain times. And I have to say myself, I see people walking around without masks and or gloves. I'd love to see everybody wearing gloves and masks when they go out, and that's not happening. And it's just so frustrating and upsetting. And sometimes I just want to say, what do we do? What is that mirror that I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I agree. I experience that when I go out right now. I even feel like when I was a younger mother and had these babies, that there were people, on the DC subways, they're like excited to get on the subway, and they don't even see that you have a baby and a little one in hand, and you're trying, I think that I would feel similar emotions at that moment where, oh my gosh, don't hurt my baby. Where we are right now with people not wanting or being considerate of wearing the masks. And here's the thing. It is something for us to learn in the fact that they're not doing it, because obviously we're emotionally triggered. But in terms of responding to your friends, your loved ones, your children, your neighbors, and so on and so forth, I mean, my phone has been exploding for the last 6 weeks or so. And the one thing I would like to begin this part of this topic with is, please make sure that you have done you first. I cannot say that enough. It needs to be about you. It needs to be about your self-care, your self-nurturing, your self-work before you are even in a state to take the call, take the text, and engage with the other person. Otherwise, we will find ourselves fueling fire with, more fire and matches, and it can be scary. Or we're taking on someone else's stuff that we don't really need to be taking on because we're already dealing with enough of our own at that moment. But once you have done you and you have enough to share of yourself with another being, then yes, let's respond. How do we respond? Well, first we want to let them know that it's okay that they're feeling that way. Going through this amount of trigger and feeling so vulnerable, it's normal. It's okay. I think that many of us grew up in homes and households where vulnerability was not okay. You just suck up your feelings, shove them down. Kids are only
suck it up.
Heard and not, seen, not heard. It really, as we're all shifting into a more conscious awareness, and we're all shifting into connecting with our loved ones and friends and neighbors at a different scale, really being as responsive as possible, taking a few breaths before you jump on that call or that text with your friend, and just letting them know that you have their best interest at heart. You're talking to them from your heart, and the words will come to you if you can get into that place first. If you feel like you would still like to take that call or that text and you have not done you first, do your best. Try to really hear your friend. Try to really hear them, but do not take their emotional baggage on as well. I think that's the biggest thing. I've many of the phone calls I've been taking lately have been people who are, it's crazy. They're really good, centered, spiritually aware people, but they just came in with a lot of energy that was not theirs.
So, do you have any tips? There is a lot of that around. Do you have any tips for dealing with those energy vampires, I like to call them, all of that negative energy that is, we don't even realize are coming in? I finally have learned through my Awesome by Design, of course, Awesome Life, Awesome by Design, that we have certain factors that open up channels in our system that allow some of these negative things to come in, and positive things, both. Mm-hmm. But is there a way to kind of protect yourself from all that negative stuff?
Actually, my mentor told me one of my favorite ones. We'll go into two. We'll go into the spiritual world, and we'll go into the more physical world. I'll go into my mentor and a therapist I had years ago. Years ago, I had a therapist that said, you know what? Before you move forward in life and before you start addressing all of these things, let's fire any of the characters in your play that are just really don't need to be there.
Oh, I like that. All right. Characters.
Yeah. Just a good hard boundary of you don't need to be here. And lately I've been reflecting on that a little bit more. And really, what comes through for me on this one is that boundaries is love as well. So if you don't necessarily want to remove a person from your life, an energy vampire from your life, setting up a good boundary is showing them love as well. It's love for self, love for them. And then in terms of the spiritual side, one of my favorite things that my mentor told me, because I had been receiving all of these spiritual suggestions and practices, and you need to cleanse, you need to do this, you need to do that, don't take this on, don't touch this person, don't go near them, oh, they're going to ruin your vibe and your home and this. And so now it's just this one short phrase of, I only take on Christ consciousness energy and higher. Done.
Ooh, I love that. I only take on Christ's conscious energy and higher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that.
You don't have to, and if you can just live that, truly live it to your core, you don't have to really go the lengths of, here's my bubble, here's my sage, here's my this, here's my that. I mean, you can, and it's not to say you shouldn't. If that's what you need to do, because it's what you need to do, and that is part of your system and your belief system and where you are, then you should do it. I still do it. I like it.
Well,
but
sometimes it's, my philosophy is, if it isn't going to hurt you or somebody else, give it a shot. So if one thing is not working right, if that Christ consciousness is not in your realm of being, then yeah. And I've had many people, when I was feeling down, they'd say, well, Karen, have you lit a candle? And I'm saying, no. Lighting candles is nice, but I don't have a ritual.
Yeah.
They said, well, you should.
Now, when you think about it too, the bigger thing being behind the ritual, even behind I only take on Christ consciousness energy and higher, is the intent.
Intention is everything, isn't it?
It's your intent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you hope with this? And I think that's quite true. If you can set your intention, and no, I know I was telling my clients that were, or our friends actually, that were feeling badly about what they had done in the past. There was a lot of guilt. And I said, was it your intention to be mean? And well, no, it wasn't. So it was the other person who interpreted something, because that's the space they were in at the time. And therefore you don't have to feel guilt at all. Yeah.
And then when we talk about the perspective for both of those individuals, each of them representing a mirror for the other, jumping back to mirrors, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, I get off track.
Me too.
That's why I love Janet. We hang out all the time. I just love Janet.
But, being the mirror for each other without completely realizing it at that moment, right? When, and not only that, how we perceive our mirror is a big piece of it. I think there's so much importance in terms of being able to almost remove yourself from yourself for just a moment and take more of that objective perspective of what is going on here. What is this showing me? And then hopping right back in your body and then taking those next steps in terms of what did this show me, and really utilizing it to empower yourself.
I love that. Yeah, that is so cool. So Janet, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to get in touch. She is such an amazing, intuitive person. So how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I know I just said my phone's been ringing for the last 6 weeks. Please feel free to get in touch with me. You can call me or text me preferably. My number is 713-677-3891 if you would like to reach out. You can also email me if you're not really one for the phone. And my email is Janet, Janet .Uribe, Uribe .source, SOURCE @gmail.com.
Love it. Love it. And they could just, is there anything they should put in the subject line just so they know that
Sure. You can
it's not spam mail?
type in mirrors.
Mirrors. Excellent.
Do that.
Excellent. Mirrors in the subject line. I love it. So, people could contact you about.
Honestly, I do anything from giving some guidance to helping individuals overcome certain obstacles that they simply cannot see through when they get blinders. I know down the road, down the road, I end up doing more healing work, and my line of what I do changes a bit. But for now, this is where I am today, and I love it.
Ah, that is great. That is great. And before we go, is there any final note that you would like to share?
Yes, I would actually. One, thank you, Karen, for having me on. This has been fun.
My pleasure.
I love how we meet every week. It's really, guys, just so you know, I met Karen, very happenstance type of situation on LinkedIn. And then we reached out to each other randomly and we became really good friends, and it's been phenomenal. This has been, it's been one of my favorite friendships.
Well, that's what a great joint venture is, when both of you feel like you're getting the better end of the deal, and I certainly am.
Well, no, we've talked about that before. So I'm going to let everyone know that is not how it works. I know. You get just as much from me as I do from you. And that is in every single interaction that you ever have with any human, animal, anything in your physical environment. It is always a 50-50 exchange. You have choice, you have perception, you have love, you have intent, and all of these things that build into that. And you take away what you take away. Yeah.
I love it. So, well, I don't know if that was the final message that you wanted to give, or
because I liked that. I liked how it turned.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. And yeah, I was feeling it too. Absolutely. So thank you. Thank you, Janet, for being my guest here on the Awesome Life podcast. And until the next time, she is amazing. So reach out. She does not offer idly. That's for sure.
Well, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. That's sweet.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. That was great.
I'm feeling good. How about you?
I'm feeling really great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have one. We're still flooded. You too.
Yeah?
I think it's funny because if I had to describe two of the guys in my room right now, it's almost like they pulled up a chair with popcorn. Oh, and I'm all sweaty from that, whatever just happened. So funny.
So, it was approved by the guides?
Yeah. It's in approval. What are they saying? Oh, how funny. I'm going to tell you this. This is cute. I work with a young man. I'm sure I've told you about him. He's a healer, and he doesn't know that he's a healer. He's 8 years old. And today he's building with these little interconnected blocks, built in a very interesting structure that had these increasing steps, but they weren't all in the same direction. Almost like a pyramid would have these little steps, right, that continue to go on to a higher place. But his were very randomly placed. And I asked him, Ty, what is this? What are you making right now? He says, the wall of conscience. And I said, the wall of conscience, what is that? He said, I don't know, but someone said I should make it.
Wow.
I started to tap into his someone. And I heard that today is an important day for both you and I in terms of taking our steps. And we don't need to know which way the next step is. It's just taking it.
So cool.
Yeah, it was neat. Cool. That happened. Oh, look, I'm getting so many things come in right now. It happened at 1:30 today. Mm-hmm. It was
1:30 this afternoon?
Afternoon. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right. I think I just probably sent you the email at around that time with the questions. And it was neat.
So cool.
Yeah. Cute little healer. So neat, that guy. The messages he gives me on a regular basis without total awareness is amazing.
I love that. You know, the young, if we could hang on to that knowledge that we were given as babies, wouldn't it be great?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that was something else that I heard today from another friend. Who was that? Veronica Brick, perhaps? Um, we all came in with it. We just have to reach in and get it.
I like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All of the
Break it
information.
through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful because,
That was something else that came in for the previous, some of my previous questions. There's one I wish I would have kept. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about us being the ones that self-impose our own lines and boundary and barriers and limits, our limitations. And it was global. This related a little bit to COVID as well, but basically, and many things. But basically, we self-impose lines that divide us as territories, as people, and we impose that perceived separation from source energy. We are currently observing the division as that pattern in our collective as well. So we look at the divide that's happening amongst our country politically, dietarily, racially, and it's just another, each of those things being another mirror to just show us how we divide ourselves and separate ourselves from the source creator, from our inner being, from all of the answers.
and we can have fun doing it.
Oh, don't we?
We can have fun doing it. Yeah. Without hurting, without
Yes.
hurting others. Just yeah.
Just requires a little bit more play, a little bit more love.
Lot more love. Lot more love. Yeah. I love it. Oh, Janet, this is so cool. So I'm wondering the path. I've been hearing your advice that I'm moving forward with my voice.
Yeah.
And I've been having such a good time. Today has been, I started at 10 and been going until you and I hooked up with talking to people about being on the podcast. And I've had one podcast come through. So, well, I shouldn't say that they're all coming through, but today we actually recorded. You're my second recording of a podcast.
Good.
So it's great fun, but I still get the feeling of my joy and my fear of success building online.
Mm-hmm. Your intent is everything is what just came through for you.
Yeah.
Your intent is everything. They're already reading all of your energy of what you really do and don't want.
Yeah.
You will get that based off of where you are today, but no one says it has to stay that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In every that you choose to take it, because at some point, obviously, you know this is for you. Yeah. Now, I have a question for you. I just heard this. Are you mostly only hosting women on the show? Are you open to men?
Yeah, actually, I interviewed a man today. Yeah, it was such a good interview that I said, "Well, look, let's make this the podcast, and we can meet again."
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's this guy actually grew up in the DC area and ended up in Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
And he has a 38-acre wellness retreat there.
Wow.
And he has a water cleanse,
Ooh,
28-day water cleanse.
incredible.
And I'm not sure I could do that, or would want to do that. Of course I could, but I don't know that I'd want to. If I was sick, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And his claim is saying that his diet and his cleanse and meditation and everything has led to blind people being able to see again, getting rid of diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any hypertension after they leave him. And it was fascinating.
Even that stuff so much. Actually, I don't know if I've told you about how many illnesses I've had when I was younger. And I mean a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was on 8 or 9 medications in 2013. And I was on the point of I was ready to leave. I was ready to go. I'd already talked to my crew without realizing my crew was there and told them, I'm out of here. I can no longer do this. I was in excruciating pain. I was bald. It was awful. But I went to this psychiatrist and she said, before I put you on another pill, on another medicine, why don't you go check out this doctor, Dr. Joan Tsai in, where is this? Laguna Hills, California. And she just put me on a 7-day green cleanse. Just if it wasn't green, you could not eat it. And if possible, in your most raw form. And I had every single illness, the pre-diabetic status, the hypothyroid syndrome, the arthritis, the severe dermatitis, alopecia, amenorrhea, arrhythmic hearts, everything done. And I do believe most of that was emotional as well.
Yep. So, there's no question. But, I think you're opening up and trying.
Yeah. I just needed a step in that direction and it changed my life. And now those higher vibrational foods are a big part of my life today. And when I'm not with them, I can kind of tell. I try to raise the vibration of anything that goes in my body anyway. If I really want a corn dog, I'll just say, well, God, you shouldn't have put it on this earth.
And he'll say, no, or she'll say, no, I didn't put it on this earth. But somebody on that earth put it together.
Yeah. For me,
created it. So
I raise its vibration.
I love it. Oh,
it's neat. I mean, I am fascinated by the cleanses, the Wim Hofs of the world with their breathing and everything. It's neat. And again, everything done with intent. So,
that's it. I do go in with basic intention of seeing the difference in me before I suggest to others. Now, or if I see somebody who could benefit, who might benefit, who is not on my thinking, that's fine. I will share. Some people say that this might help. The bottom line is to alleviate whatever. And belief is not it.
I like that you treat it like an offering as well. That moved something with me, that some people say rather than, the offering is a very big piece of it.
Yeah. And, I will tell you what happened with me, and it is, I'll give you more information or not. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Take it or not. That's fine. But for me, it was fascinating. I don't know if I told you about, I'd never heard of a green smoothie until St. Patrick's Day. And I thought, it was in March and they were all having their green smoothie cleanses. And I said, Oh, all right. Well, that must be for St. Patrick's Day. I had no idea.
I love it.
Uh, and then it got to be July and people were still having their green smoothies. So I said, okay, there must be more to this.
I love it. I just thought it was someone who just couldn't eat an animal or something. I just really thought that there's a very specific type of population that goes to this dietary option of a green smoothie.
Well, they say, it's a cleanse, whatever the cleanse is. I'm not quite sure what the cleanse is. But anyway, they were offering a download for recipes on green smoothies. And somebody had told me, and it clicked with me. It just made sense with me that you don't mix fruit with vegetables in your smoothie.
Oh yeah, I have heard that many times. Actually, and there's something even related to protein. Like protein you want to eat with vegetables. Carbs you want to eat with vegetables, but no protein. There's something about it in terms of how you process everything and break it down. Yeah.
I've never heard that. So that adds more to the thought, but it just made sense. Don't mix it. If you want something sweet, and fine, mix your strawberry banana smoothie. But I wanted something for clearing out my digestive system. So I made the smoothie and I couldn't believe it. I was over the moon talking about it. It changed everything in me. Now, do I do it all the time? Seldom. But at that point in time, I literally heard my body say, thank you.
Oh, I love it.
And I've been trying to get that thank you back again, but I haven't heard it since. But my body, literally after 3 sips, they just said, thank you.
Oh,
And every cell in my body just lit up. I had energy. I went full tilt. And all it was tomatoes, lettuce, celery, cucumber.
wow.
And I use seltzer for my water. And it was just like, okay, this is good stuff. I'm going to make some to take to California rather than have coffee in my. Coffee doesn't really help, but instead of having coffee, because I was getting up at like 2 a.m. to catch a 3 o'clock plane bus down to Boston, and I made too much, so I drank up
the whole thing.
And my sister-in-law is saying, how are you doing this, Karen? My gosh, you got up at 3 o'clock your time, or 2 o'clock your time, which was actually 11 o'clock California time, PM, California time, and it's almost 11 o'clock now California time. How are you doing that? I mean, I don't know. I had my green smoothie. That's what I'm telling you. It is so awesome. And my body is loving this.
It is cool. It's so funny that you say that, because right here I have extracted green juice, all vegetables. So I live like that. After I had that experience of getting my life back, I mean, I think you're right. There's something to the energy behind it, because I accomplish things that most people cannot accomplish in one day. I can do it in a week.
So what is it that you're drinking there?
This is cucumber, celery, spinach, kale. What am I missing? There's another vegetable in there. I can't remember what else. And it's extracted juice. It's not a smoothie. I just drank a smoothie before this, a green smoothie.
Okay, so do you do it in a blender, or is this a powder that you add?
This is a juicer. So I have a smoothie that I do in the blender, and I drink one of those every morning. And then around this time of day, before I sit down for dinner, I drink one of these. This helps curb my appetite, makes me already feel satiated.
Satiated. I don't know that term. That's cool.
You basically, right, you have an insatiable appetite. Well, I'm satiated
I
because
see. Okay.
I already have all the nutrients. So the body says, we already have everything we need. Anything extra is just extra. And so I enjoy my extra even more in a way, and I eat less because I usually I sometimes have this appetite that's just more psychosomatic than it is necessary. I could just keep going if it tastes great. Yeah. But yeah, the juices are my life. And so my friends laugh at me. They're like, how do you get this life done? No, people sleep, people rest, people stop. And that was my life years and years and years ago. And I do rest and stop. I had a lovely pajama weekend.
Oh, nice. Nice, nice.
I had to sleep a lot this weekend. By the way, everyone's going to be feeling very tired in this next week or two.
Ooh, I got to get a lot done this week, so please help me stay moving.
Tell them what you got going on.
Please, please.
But yeah, so the drinks, they've just changed my life. I love them. I can't imagine a
And
life.
you don't, this is all fresh vegetables. This is not the powdered extracted vegetable. Okay.
Fresh.
And so you have a juicer and you have a blender. And that's, I never really thought about a juicer because I felt like all the fiber, which people at my age need that fiber.
I only do the juice because I think I've told you I've had cancer before, twice in my 20s. And what was suggested to me by the doctor in California is the juice is like the vitamin. It's like the one-shot vitamin that goes straight to the blood cells. You don't even have to think about it. But I still keep the smoothie in because the smoothie is the fiber.
Okay. Okay. So it's like the right to the cells. Interesting. All right. That lends a little bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, I live this life.
So, Janet, as always, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for the education, and thank you guys for all of your help through Janet.
Oh, thank you. I know I'm thanking them too right now. Your guys played too.
Yeah, we all play together, and that's so cool. And I love the image of pulling up a chair and having popcorn.
They're laughing at me because I like mentally was saying, I'm gonna grab your popcorn and throw it at you for fun.
Oh my! Well,
thank you so much gratitude for this experience. I loved it. It was fun.
oh, I always enjoy being with you.